Now let's drop a vellum configure cloth. There we go. Okay, plug this into the first input. You can see there's a generating constraint for us. Okay, let's see now. We want cloth, distance along edges is fine. Don't need a group, it's going to be the same for everything. Leave these kind of do these work by default now as of Houdini 18, I think. They work really easily for us. No, Houdini 17.5. I think this calculate varying and thickness really helps out. Okay, what else do we want? We want to set up these pinpoints. Okay, so that pin group we just made, and this match animation is really important as well, so they follow around. Okay, so the stretch stiffness, we'll leave that on, so that's really stiff by default. Now, something important here, the rest length scale, I'm going to drop this down to 0.8, okay? So that means these want to be shorter than they are now, okay? So the rest length is shorter than their current length of these constraints. So what that does, it means when the simulation starts, they'll be under tension, they'll be pulling on themselves, which makes sense for our simulation. It's a bridge with cables, and the cables should be under tension, so that when they break, when they're released from the road, they spring up, and kind of we get some nice behavior from that. Okay, so that's good. This compression stiffness, oops, let me turn that back to 0.8, and I'm going to turn this compression stiffness, sorry, up to the pretty much the maximum value, so they don't kind of compress together. This bend stiffness, I'm gonna raise this a bit, but not too much. Let's do it to 1,000,000. Okay, which sounds like a lot, but you'll see they'll still bend plenty, substantially, in fact. Okay, now let's drop an object merge and bring in the bridge. So the bridge simulation, so bridge sim, we want the out bridge sim. Okay, grab that, and now connect this up to the collision geometry there, and we also want a vellum attached to geometry. Okay, make sure to connect up all these. So there's our collision geometry coming through, constraints. So similar to the RBD workflow, but we only have the one line for the actual simulation geometry. We've got constraints, and then a collision geometry on the right. Okay, so vellum attached there. So I think we'll need to unpack this geometry first for it to work properly. Yeah, we'll unpack it. There we are, and let's configure this. So we want it to not be connecting the whole thing. We need to kind of let's see. There we go. Max distance. So turn on this max distance. Okay, so we're connecting this geometry to this geometry here, to the collision geometry. Let's do 0.01. Okay, so they're just connecting around the bottom there. That's fine like that. And then we want everything here is fine by default. Let's output this group, call this attach. Okay, so that we can break them later, or work on breaking them later. Yeah, well, we do want to break them, so we'll turn this on. I'm going to drop that to 0.01, so that when they're stretched, when the stress on these constraints is beyond a certain amount, they'll break. Okay, so that's great. Let's drop our vellum solver into the bottom here. Great. We also want to join into this at the bottom here, into this vellum attach this Okay, maybe I'll just copy this over just to make it a bit tidier. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at what happens with that. So let's visualize those attached to geometry constraints. And maybe just play through this and see them hopefully breaking. I'm going to stop it and run a flipbook because it's going to be pretty slow. Okay, let's go back. Just run a flipbook from there. Right, I've stopped it there because what we can see is we can see the attached to geometry constraints there, and just right away they're breaking, but nothing's coming free. Okay, they're still attached. Now the reason that is because this geometry is intersecting the collision geometry down here, so we need that to be able to be released. It is actually going through the other geometries. So what we can do is use a attribute on this geometry to say that it can be released at first. Anything that's intersecting at the beginning of the simulation, once they're free, after that they will collide again, right? So basically it's called disable external, I think it is, yeah. So it's an integer, and we call it disable external. Set that to 2, I believe it was. So if we set it to 1, then it won't collide with anything external at all. If we set it to 2, then it will be disabled at the beginning, but then once they're released, then they will collide with everything else still. Okay, so let's try that again, and yeah, let's just see if they should just pop off now. So run another flipbook on that. So now you can see at the beginning they are released, they fly up, and you can see that they're under tension there. So by setting the rest length to less than 1, to 0.8, is going to be as I said, they're under tension, they just pop up a little bit. We'll obviously need to work on that. We don't want them breaking straight away like this, and we want a bit more of a lively break. When they get pulled apart, we want them to fly up and bend and go all over the place. But we're on the right track so far.